Greetings, demons! So, recently I received a comment from Sunex, who is one of my moderators for the livestream, and he asked, what is Rocket League like in 2021? And that he used to play it in 2017. This is a really interesting question, and while I'm not exactly sure how to attack it, I would like to just kind of give my thoughts on what Rocket League is like to play in 2021. So, obviously, not that long ago, in the middle of 2020, Psyonix was actually acquired by Epic Games. This led to Rocket League being moved from Steam on PC, where it had been since its release, to Epic Games as an exclusive, and that is still the case today. So, obviously, if you own the Steam version, or owned, should I say, the Steam version, you are able to still launch it through that, so if you still have it downloaded there, you can, as well as the fact that it is still technically on the store, you can re-download it. But the main version, the main supported version, which will get all the things like starter packs, which I'll get into, that is exclusively on the Epic launcher, which I don't think is that big of a deal. We've kind of come to terms over the last few years on PC of Epic being just as important as Steam if you want to keep up with AAA games and just what's popular at any one time. I don't think it's that much of an issue, but some people don't like it. I understand that. If you played Rocket League on PC before the acquisition, you still will be able to play it using Steam. So, with that acquisition came a major change beyond just what platform PC players had to launch it from, as despite Rocket League being on Season 14 at the time, it actually was reset back to Season 1. Now, this sounds way more drastic than it actually was. It didn't really change all that much. It basically meant that they were resetting it for the new free-to-play option, which that is the other major thing. It's now free-to-play. There are a lot more options for microtransactions and that sort of thing, but the game itself, if you've never played it before, is actually free, so it's worth trying out in my opinion. I've played it since launch, so I really do enjoy it, but that's beside the point. It is free, and yeah, along with that came, as I say, the reset of everything in terms of the season levels. So the account levels are still the same and will remain the same for eternity. I'm sure I'm somewhere in the low hundreds because I'm not that good at the game. But if you were someone who was level 1,000 plus back when you last played and you haven't played since it became free to play, you'll still be that level, but the season levels do get reset. So that's just a brief explanation of that. It does also mean that the Rocket Pass kind of had an overhaul, which, if you don't know what the Rocket Pass is, if you're someone that's new to the game, it's essentially the Battle Pass system that Fortnite popularized, and also games like PUBG and Warzone also have them, and it's fine. I've enjoyed them generally. The themes have been pretty good. We had a space theme, we had a racing theme, and you know, it's just a very fun thing. It's a good way of getting some extra cosmetics if you're into that, but overall, it's just something to work towards. You get access to a lot more challenges, but the challenges are only really to progress the Rocket Pass, so it's up to you. It's 1,000 credits, which are kind of expensive still, because it's not like Rocket League had the same thing that Fortnite did, where they discounted their currency. It's still pretty expensive to actually get it, but if you're someone who plays it every day, or almost every day, or every once in a while at least, like I do along with my friends, I'd definitely say it's worth a try. Just one season, if you like the theme especially, which the current theme as of recording this is kind of like NASCAR racing F1 sort of thing, so if that's something that interests you, I'd suggest just checking it out, maybe for one season. If you don't like it, you don't have to get it next season, and at the end of the day, you're getting a few extra items that you wouldn't get otherwise, and they're never coming back, so that's always something. In terms of truly new additions, it mostly is based on the kinds of items that you'll find in the item shop, so this really boils down to the fact that player anthems were added, which are little jingles, little songs that play whenever you score, as well as when you do certain other things. Saves get the same treatment, as well as a few of the other things like clearances do get the treatment if the ball was doing a certain thing. Things like backflips and kickflips and all those things, turtling, they all can activate the sound clips, but it's unlikely that they do a lot of the time. I've had it very little other than 4 saves and goals. But that is the major addition that has come recently, and generally, if you're not someone who is that interested in the music, I can understand why that's not so important to you. In fact, Tristan, who I play with quite often, doesn't even have the music on, whereas me and Matt, who we also play, we like the music and we usually listen to it outside of the game. In fact, I use the Rocket League sound packs, the music packs that are in Fortnite, because I prefer it to the actual Fortnite music. So, when it comes to the music stuff, that is the major thing that has changed. There's a lot more to do with music, there's a lot more music options. They added the ability to actually choose which lobby tracks get played when you're just in the menus, which is very nice. I especially like the most recent stuff from Cascade from back in Season 2, and overall it's a nice thing. I like the music, so if you're someone who enjoyed the music of Rocket League, if that was something that did actually interest you, there's some new ways of working with that. Now, the only other real major addition in terms of items has actually just been a few different ways of getting bundled or combination items. So we've seen a lot of themed bundles for events like Glamourama and Cascade, and they're fine generally. They're usually a little expensive in my opinion, but if you're interested in the stuff that's in them, it's a good way of getting technically discounted items as a combo. We've also seen the addition of bundles, which, once again, I believe they're kind of expensive, but they're a good way of getting an import body, as well as various things that match the theme of that import body, including things like decals and all sorts of different cosmetic items. I like the concept, I'm not a huge fan of the execution, but that is just another option. And then the other thing is what I mentioned earlier in terms of the things that you can get on Epic Store, which is the starter packs and also the vehicle packs, which both of them cost real money and give you an amount of credits alongside the main items. The starter packs are very similar to other game starter packs like Fortnite and Call of Duty, and essentially just give you an import body along with a few very nice cosmetics and enough credits to get yourself, a decent decal, a decent goal explosion. Nothing too expensive, but, the option's there. It opens up the item shop for you, and it's also a good way of getting credits towards getting your Rocket Pass if that's something that interests you. But that is generally all that's changed in the longest time. One thing that I will say, if you're someone who hasn't played since 16, 17 or 18, the added modes, the, fun modes, that being Rumble, Snow Day and Hoops, are now competitive only. There used to be an option to play them casually or competitively. Now it's comp only. I used to hate this option, used to hate this change, but the more I play, the more I enjoy it, and honestly, it's good to be able to get your competitive rank and your competitive, rewards by just playing things like Rumble, because I really like Rumble. It's my favourite mode personally, and yeah, it's a change. Some people will like it, some people won't. The regular modes still have casual versions of them, so there's always that. And the last thing with modes is that we have been seeing a lot of LTMs, limited time modes. This is something that has been popularised massively by games like Fortnite, though plenty of games have had them in the past, and I'm sure plenty more will have them in the future. But these are just a variety of special modes. Heat Seekers is one that comes to mind, which was essentially you could hit the ball and it would always go towards the goal no matter what, and it would also pick up speed as you hit it. That's just an example. There's been a ton of them, and there seems to be a new one every few weeks. So if you just want a change of, what you're playing within the game, they're always a good option. There's some themed ones for events, but, it's just a thing. It's extra modes. You can't really complain. And yeah, that's really everything when it comes to modes. So throughout this video, I have mentioned how there have been a lot of events, and that really is the case. There's been a ton of different promotions since Epic's acquisition, including 2 with Fortnite, those being Llamarama and what I call Llamarama 2, but was also just called Llamarama. We've seen Ghostbusters return, despite the fact that the original Ecto 1, which was a DLC car, is no longer available because they did remove all of the DLC cars which were branded, so you can't get the DeLorean, you can't get the Batmobiles, you can't get things like the Jurassic Park collaboration, which in my opinion, is very disappointing. If you already own them on whatever platform, that being Xbox, PlayStation, or Steam, where they were available, you can still use them, they are available, but you can't get them if you don't already have them, which, in my opinion, very unfortunate. I'm someone who started playing originally on Xbox, and I have all of the DC stuff, but I can't use it on PC, and there's no way of me rebuying it or anything, so it swings and roundabouts. You can't win everything, and that is definitely something that has been lost. So if that was something that was very intriguing to you, the fact that you could use like various different Batmobiles and various different cars from other franchises, some are available. The Ecto 1 Mark II is something that comes in from time to time, but overall, the actual collaborations aren't really something that you're probably going to be all too interested with. A lot of them are timed exclusives, like Llama, but, you know, there's the odd thing that comes to the item shop. If you're interested, I'm sure there's going to be plenty of other people that will cover it in way more detail than I do. I'm the Fortnite crossover person, not the Rocket League crossover person, unfortunately. But yeah, that is something to keep in mind, that a lot of the events and crossovers are limited time, and the ones that used to be in the game as DLC aren't available anymore, but if you have them, you have them forever. I still have all of mine that I bought on the Xbox, they just don't cross over to any other platform, unfortunately. And so, the final thing that I really need to talk about of what it's like to play Rocket League in 2021, before I get to what I personally think of the game, is that it is free to play, and it's free to play on more platforms now. It was available purely on Xbox One, PS4, and Steam. It is now also available on the new gen consoles, those being the Xbox Series XS and also obviously the PS5, but it was also ported over to the Nintendo Switch, so you can play it portably as long as you have an internet connection. So if that's something that interests you, definitely a call. I actually quite enjoy it on the Switch. It's not graphically intensive or anything, so it actually looks decent. But anyway, and there is also in, I believe, pre-alpha currently in Australia, a mobile version which should be coming out either later this year or early next year, unless it gets cancelled. We don't have too much information on that right now, but it is a thing that is happening. So if you're someone who doesn't actually use proper consoles or a gaming PC, you know, that is always something that is an option in the future potentially. But otherwise, that is everything that I really needed to go over, so let's just have a final thoughts of what I think of Rocket League, and also the reason that I keep playing it. So, when it comes to me and Rocket League, I have often fallen out of love with the game. And in fact, during the new Season 1, when Epic bought it, there was a lot of issues with the game that made me really uninterested in playing. I got brought back during Season 2 towards the end, and I've been really enjoying Season 3. I think that if you're someone who enjoyed the game early on, you know, in the first few years of it existing, and, you know, you're thinking, should I try it out again? Try it. It's free now on way more platforms. No matter where you play, the chances are there's a version of it that exists. Even if you own just a, you know, crappy laptop, you can probably play it. It's not very intensive. I would suggest using a controller if you're new to the game, especially. Even if you're someone who typically uses a keyboard and mouse on PC, I really do suggest using a controller. It's not very fun on keyboard and mouse, believe me, I have tried. But, yeah, I have kind of fallen in love with Rocket League all over again, and that is, despite my gripes, I don't love that Rumble is a competitive-only mode. I would rather have the option to not go up against sweats in every match, but at the end of the day, that's just kind of how the game is. It's supposed to be a competitive game, and it does it well, honestly. There's a lot of tournaments, there's a lot of events, so there's pretty much always something to do that's different or new or exciting. No matter what you like about the game, there's always going to be something to do. And I think that's one of the nice things. To say how, you know, Rocket League at the end of the day is just football with cars. A lot of the time it can be more than that, and I think that that's the point that I like to just leave this on. So, generally, if you enjoyed it before, I definitely suggest trying it out again. If it interests you at all, obviously I've had gameplay in the background of, like, now I'm looking at it, it's probably going to be 3 or 4 matches of gameplay just because of how short games can actually be. But yeah, if you think that gameplay looks fun and you think that it's something that will interest you, check it out. It's free. It's on pretty much any platform that you could ever want to use it on. And yeah, genuinely, I think it's a really fun game and really worth checking out if you haven't already. But that is everything that I wanted to say in this video. Thanks, Sanex, for giving me the question, which I wouldn't have made a video like this without that, so if that doesn't say, comment if you want me to talk about something, I don't know what does. But anyway, like, subscribe if you're new around here. I make videos like this I want to say every single day because I've been doing daily content, but that could change at any time. Link in the description to my Twitter as well as my Discord. You can check out everything that I'm working on Trello, which is also in the description below. And yeah, otherwise that's it from me. So thanks for watching, and yeah, bye!
Lunar rainbow flag, happy pride, rabbit with facts. Streamer, let's play, take them out like dinosaurs. FNAFN, control, not the leader of a cult. Rabbit with sax, it's Lunar.